guys? Right, namaste to everyone in the house and to all listening from home and office. My name is Yashpal Singh and I'm 36-year-old, good looking, fit, polished, corporate leader and coach. I'm sorry if you feel otherwise. I can see the excitement in the air, so can't resist in appreciating myself. This is me. Sorry for that. So why am I here today? Today, I'm going to dive into the session which has driven me so far, professionally and socially. Which is the power of purpose attracting talent in the modern world. But before we dive in more, I think it's great to tell you who am I, where I'm from, so that you all can understand better me. Just like in many stories you heard, and there is no different this time, I also grew up in a middle class family in a village. And I believe that's common in every story you heard. But if I talk about the topic today, the power of purpose attracting talent in the modern world, we need to think broadly what it is and what it is all about. At the same time, when I grew up and when I was a kid, I was trying to get the things more purpose aligned, but I was not in the situation to think broadly, and that's the same with most of us. What is power of purpose? We have to understand that the things needs to be aligned with broader perspective. Things which we do every day will make our future. The purpose is not just about our growth, your growth, or anybody's growth. The purpose defines and creates the great future, not just for ourselves, but for our country, for our communities, and for the whole of the world. But here comes the first question. Why are we going to do that? And for whom are we going to do that? Is it through a different purpose, understanding or learning from the past, and to understand the change dynamic of the world? There are different perspectives around it. So just imagine, I would like you all to just close your eyes for a second and think about it, just for a minute. If you are standing on a tall building, facing another building, and you just have a thin ladder in between that, and at the same time, if someone asks you to cross that building, will you be going to do that? I'm very sure about it that most of the people here in the house will say no. Because what is there behind is the fear. But at the same time, if someone put 1 crore price in order to cross that ladder, I think some might feel like crossing that. Why? Obviously, tempted by the price, we probably think of crossing that ladder. But at the same time, if you feel and think that danger still feel greater than the reward. Now think on an immediate basis that the building you are facing, the other building you are facing in the moment is on fire. And you have the entire family of yours trapped on the top of that other building which is on fire. And suddenly that ladder becomes the only way to get on that building and to save your family. I'm sure about it that none of us will have a second thought in crossing that ladder. The reason being, right now in this situation, it's nothing about the reward, it's nothing about the fear, it's about the love, it's about the responsibility, and it's about the true purpose behind that. Am I right? Lovely. So to understand that, why it is important to attract and engage talent in the modern world, we really need to explore 4th-generation interactive in our modern workforce model. I'm sorry, it's a tongue twister. Sorry for that. So in order to understand that, we need to explore our 4th-generation interactive in our modern workforce model. What it is all about. We need to understand that. What generation has changed in terms of our mindset. Let's start with number 1. That is boomer. Who are they? They are the grandparents of the current and the future workforce. Or maybe I must say the parents of the current workforce. This generation is basically the premium loyal generation to their jobs, for the humanity. This is the generation who tend to start their jobs and to get retired. What they had in their mind? They only had a wish for food, clothing, and shelter. They are the one who always used to think about the survival. They had nothing to do with other stuffs. What was the reason behind it? The reason is that they had the less opportunity. But when you go and the second generation, which is the Generation X, this is the generation where this IT company era started. Economy started building it. Opportunities were more as compared to the previous generation. Now what they wish for in this generation is more about the standard of living. They have nothing to do with the survival. They have nothing to do with the food. They have nothing to do with the shelter because their parents have already took care of it. So they have started thinking, because the opportunities are more as compared to the previous generation, as I said. So they have the option to think about something more as compared to their parents. Now if you move it to the 3rd generation, which is the generation millennials. This generation is having more and more opportunity as compared to previous generation. So now, what was there in their mind is nothing about the survival. It is nothing about the food. It is nothing about the shelter. It is nothing about the standard of living. Their parents and their grandparents have already took care of all that. So they become less loyal to their jobs. They have different purpose and they have a different mindset now. They have the broader aspirations. They expect the quality of living. They expect the quality of life, whether it is professionally or socially. In different cases, it's different for different people. Now the 4th one is the Generation Gen Z. As per me, we are living in the more difficult position as a leader and as an organization. Leadership has been more difficult. I mean, it is very difficult than it's ever been. And the reason being that we are dealing with human anxiety, we are dealing with human uncertainty, we are dealing with human ambition, we are dealing with human ego. Human expecting the quality of life over survival and standard of living. And trust me, this is the fact. Now, if you talk about what is more after that, any organization, right? Because see, when we talk about the expectations, so each and every generation has a different expectation, mindset, work ethics that creates an complex but more of an exciting dynamics. So this generation is more of living more into the qualities, right? What is going to happen? Being as a company as a leader, we have the opportunity to build in the training which can help this generation to build in more human skill. I hate it when people talks about just in soft skill and hard skill. I'm sure this is important to perform your jobs, but building in the human skill is also important at the same time. So to all the leaders and the organization, we have to rebuild the trust in the current and the future workforce. We need to stop functioning the way we have been. And to all the current workforce mates, students, people, those who are in their mid-career, need to think broadly, and they need to start thinking with a more purpose-driven approach. Don't just be clock in and clock out. If you have better strategies, if you have the purpose, I'm sure you will reach to where you are, what you are expecting. So now, when we talk about what can help our organization and what can help students in terms of aligning the today's workforce management, we all need to understand one thing, and majorly from a company perspective, organization who is looking to retain, to increase and to increase the retention and the stability in any organization has to have core values. And this is again goes in the two ways, not just from a student point of view, but from an organization point of view as well. Organization with no core values have no direction of travel. So if I talk with more purpose, what are those core values? I must say that you must be wondering. Every organization and every person has different core values. But probably as for me, it must be like we partner, we pioneer, we progress, and we deliver. These are some of the core values we need to live in to get the more stability, to get the purpose-driven approach within the organization, and to have the positive culture around it. And like I mentioned, that when we have the human skill getting developed within ourselves, this will definitely going to get us more aligned with our purpose, with our skills, with our corporate strategies. Now, going forward, when we talk about what all things any organization can do, is to bringing in the succession plan from the day one for the students and for the employees. Now, if you look at into that front, what is the succession plan? In any organization, people have the different levels, people have the different jobs, people have the different responsibilities. When you go as a fresh student into any company, what all mindset you have? When you go in the organization, you probably feel like getting and starting your job and staying in the organization for 2 years, 3 years, and 4 years, and then you probably think of moving in some other organization. And everyone, it is not just about the student, it's even about the company. Every people think about why we need to think of moving from one company to another company. And that is why I'm talking about the generation, right? If you look at the previous generation, they tend to stay in the same organization for a longer period because sometimes they can see the vision. And for the student, sometimes you will not see the vision. The vision and the mindset is different. It is probably more about the compensation. It is probably more about the quality of living. But if you are not getting what you are expecting in your job, in your career, in your life, you probably think of moving from one step to another step. What all things can an organization do? It is again, when we talk about the succession plan, why it is important. If you have the right succession plan in your organization, then people will see that you have something what they are expecting in your organization. It is about giving them and aligning them with an internal mobility option. Now guys, if you don't know that what do I mean by internal mobility? Internal mobility is an option wherein you'll get a chance to move from one department to other department. You have an option to go from one role to another role, probably in a higher role, right? Other than this, what our organization can do to attract talent? Organization can still think about creating the organic attraction while aligning the internal mobility, succession plan, and publishing the success story to have those people, the employees, feel more aligned in your organization, in your company. Higher management, sometime, and the student, we should see that there's sometimes a communication gap. So people sitting at an executive leadership that should be transparent enough and talk about some high levels, right? So that they can feel more positive, they can feel more confident to be in the same organization. Trust me, within collective efforts of doing all that, will create a power, will create a passion over pay. This will definitely create more diverse and more engaged talent pool for your organization. Now here is something interesting, and I'm sure if someone can tell me, if someone has heard about it, that there are 4 stages works in the corporate world. Now if I talk about what are those 4 stages and explain you, then you will get to know where you are at the moment and what all skills and stages, or maybe the hierarchy, works in the corporate world. So I'll start with first one. The first one is highly skilled within specialization. The second one is highly skilled. The third one is skilled, and fourth one is semi-skilled. What it is all about, you must be wondering. So the first one, which is in highly skilled within specialization, what it is all about, what kind of stages is this? People like CEO, people like CTO, people like CXO, people like CFOs, all these people comes under this stage, and they are so-called the executive leadership body in any organization. So they are the people who run the overall show in any corporate. Now the second comes is the highly skilled. Who all are there in this highly skilled? Maybe the directors, senior directors, product manager, project managers. All these people come in highly skilled. What they do and who are they? They are so-called the leadership body in any corporate. So if I go back, first one is highly skilled within specialization. They are the executive leadership body. Second is the leadership body, which is a highly skilled stage in any corporate. Now the third one is skilled. What this is all about, what kind of stage it is, and who all people come under that. This would start with the students, with the people, those who have recently started their career, people, those who are in mid of their career, some people, those who have already started, all these people, maybe the executives, developers, people, those who are with 2-year experience, 3-year experience, all of these people come under this skill set. Now the fourth one is semi-skilled. What this semi-skilled is all about? We have the administrative people, we have the travel support people, we have the support staff in the organization. All these people come under the fourth skill, which is in semi-skilled. Now you must be wondering why and what is the reason I'm talking about this skill set on this stage today. We are fortunate enough, by the grace of God, by the grace of our parents, to get the better education from your school, in universities. There are already skilled people. We know that, what is there for you when you are studying. You have the vision. You know what you want to do after that. Some might get into the corporate, some might get into the business, but this is for sure that you know that you are skilled. But what is there at the back? Why am I talking about this? The only reason I'm talking about this skills is about the different mindset, different approach we carry in this modern workforce. It is up to you where you are, where you want to be in a what period of time. You might be having a lot of things in your head right now, and probably when you talk to your friends at home, and when you are sitting alone and thinking about it, that I need to do that, I need to go there, I need to be the boss, I need to run the company, I need to run the company for X number of money. But do you really think that only thinking can help you to grow there? You better understand where are we right now, and we better understand where we want to be in our future. If you really want to achieve something, you need to get yourself aligned. Thinking will definitely not going to help you. You need to strategize. You need to actually work on to get on that stage what you're expecting in your life. Do you know, in the background, if you talk about the opportunities, there is an economical slowdown across the globe. When we talk about the opportunities, you know what is the actual scenario happening across the globe. It's a saying that the 94% of employees tend to stay in the same organization if they have more opportunities. That's right. This is a true reason. If you have the less opportunity, then you will be in a very difficult situation. Creating the opportunity is something what can help yourself. And the opportunity it doesn't mean that that you have the opportunity, you probably think of applying there. Unless you have that skill in you to apply for that and to maybe reach for that, for that responsibility, right? You won't be able to get the chance to get yourself aligned in your career. At the end of the day, whether you are a student, whether you are a leader, that comes under one thing. It's a positive purpose around what you do in your life. So, overall, if you think right now what is going to be for you, it is going to be more planned way of getting yourself into the position, right? So that you will probably feel that it's all about the skills, it's all about the vision. No, it's not. It's about the true purpose, what you carry for yourself. On that note, I must say, all of you have to understand one thing, that my journey has started in a different way. I never thought of being into the corporate. I always wanted to do something else. I was a good sportsman. I wanted to be into the sports. But when I started, I had a different mindset. When I started my job, I had that thing in my mind, that I must be here in the corporate, work for like a year or two, and then I'll see what are the other things I can do in my life, and then try to think of moving, within different responsibilities, different role or different industry, or maybe I would like to go back and do my business or something like that. But as soon as I started myself more into what I was doing, I was expecting something else. So I started myself gaining more interest. I tend to understand the reality of life. And I end up standing on this stage talking in front of you and working currently for a company which is a UK-based company and running the 3 group at the moment. And if I think back, I thought of doing something different. But all that journey, that journey has ended me talking on this stage today. My journey has been very transformative. I have seen a lot. So at the same time, if you also think that right now, sitting here in the house today, that you are here and you have something to achieve in your life, think broader and think with a purpose and get yourself today aligned with your expectations. On that note, I would like to thank you all for having me. And before I go, I just wanted to say something. अंत के लिए कोई शुरुआत नहीं करता, अंत उनका होता है जो कभी शुरुआत ही नहीं करता. Thank you so much.